felt it would give us the best access to the strongest possible group of senior insurance decision makers.
Insurtech Insights is a must-do conference, I think, for the network that is built here.
Hey, guys.
All right. All right, can everybody hear me okay? Good afternoon, everyone. All right, that was no one. I know that you're excited to eat lunch, but I promise you, this is the best session of the entire day. So good afternoon, everyone. All right, that was much better, much better. All right. So I am Alexis Vaughn, founder and CEO of Off Course Consulting, Learning, Tech, and Media. And I'm the best-selling author of Insurance Distribution of the Future and adjunct professor of Emerging Technologies in Insurance. I am so excited to talk about this topic today. We're going to talk about, is there a talent shortage or is it truly an opportunity, and how we can reimagine insurance education. Now, I know a lot of us have seen the staggering statistic where it says that 400,000 people are going to be retiring from the insurance industry over the next few years. But what I really think that we should be honing in on is, how do we actually retain the talent that we do have and find a more intriguing way to attract new talent and actually keep them in the industry once we get them here. So I'm really excited about having my amazing panelists here today. I'm going to first have them introduce themselves, and then we will get into it. So we'll start with you, Terri.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me, Alexis.
Of course.
So I'm Terri Fiedler with Corebridge Financial, and Corebridge Financial is a life and insurance company that we're based in Houston, Texas, and I've been there for 13 years. I'm pleased to be here today with everyone.
All right, Will?
Awesome. I'm William Holden. I'm the president and CEO of the Risk and Insurance Education Alliance. We've been around for 55 years. We call ourselves a 55-year-old startup, truly trying to transform everything we're doing from an education and training perspective. Mostly certifications, professional designations, as well as a national CE provider. And we work with individuals both at the high school, university, and professional realms.
And Rick.
Great. Hey, hi again, everyone. My name is Rick McCathron. I'm the CEO of Hippo. And when I was asked to participate in this panel, this is actually something I'm incredibly passionate about. And so really excited to be here. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So we're going to get into it. I want to first talk about how we can rethink our talent pipelines. And we want to do that by redefining who we attract into the insurance industry. So Will, we'll start with you on this one. So I know you've worked closely with CTE, specifically the programs within the high school students. What impact have you seen from high school CTE and certification programs in changing the perception of insurance?
So I think there is a common misperception that high school students hate insurance. They don't know enough to hate insurance yet. So they really are excited about the opportunity. They're excited to become potentially professionals. They're also extremely excited to know more about their parents of some financial aspect of their life. When you ask a student, do you know something more about insurance than your parents and how that make you feel? They just light up from a huge smile perspective. Yeah, I know way more than my mother about auto insurance. Like, she knows nothing. And I know all these people in the audience have read their auto policy forward and back, but if you don't know, most of the population doesn't read their auto policy. So no, they're excited by it. They didn't realize this was even a career field, and they're intrigued by how to really manage risk and what those opportunities present themselves in the future.
I love that. So Terri, tell us a little bit about, I know you've been working on some really great programs over at Corebridge. So how are school and community partnerships specifically helping Corebridge introduce students to financial services and the insurance?
So what we found is that you've got to reach them earlier than later.
Yes.
And so if and it's just in its exposure. So for example, if there's a teenager that may be good in math, it's like, make them aware that there's an actuarial career, or they have an aptitude for technology. There's data and AI and cyber that's in our industry as well as Google, and you don't have to be at a tech company to do tech. Mm-hmm. And so we've done a number of things, and we partner with associations such as Junior Achievement, Rock the Street, Wall Street, and Ever5 for K through 12.
Yes.
And then we're doing some other things. There's a new partner that we have that's American Corporate Partnership, and it's for military folks that are post 9/11 and their spouses, and helping them find careers in our industry. And so there's numerous ways for us to attract young people that are at the high school level, but also people that may be post high school at higher ed and so on. So those are just a couple of examples of things we're doing.
I love that. Love that you're leveraging partnerships to do that.
For sure.
Absolutely. So Rick, we're dealing with the aftermath of the Great Resignation. I know often when I talk to people and I say, you should actually consider getting into the insurance field as your next career choice. And they all look at me and say the same thing. I do not want to sell insurance. And we have to say, like, there is so much more to do in insurance than actually sell it. There's so many opportunities. So what's the opportunity that you see, Rick, where we can welcome those career transitioners into insurance, and how must education evolve to support that as well?
Yeah, look, I think it's interesting. With the Great Resignation, a lot of those people ended up coming back to work, which helped us a little bit for a small period of time to fill some of the talent gap that exists within our industry. But the area in which I'm most passionate about is not necessarily people that are transitioning into insurance, but people that never even thought about insurance as a career. And I'm talking about going all the way down to the high school level. And so I've had the privilege to speak to high school students and college students about insurance as a career. As recently as a few months ago, I was invited to speak at Pflugerville High School in Pflugerville, Texas. And they actually, public high school, has an insurance curriculum. There's several high schools that have insurance curriculum. And so I went to the class expecting to have to explain all aspects of insurance to them. These kids had the most intelligent questions I have seen of a group of people at any age related to insurance. And most of the conversation was very much about all the different opportunities that exist in insurance. And so the one thing I like to tell people is go outside, look around. Nothing happens without insurance. Everything that we do requires some form of insurance or somebody willing to take risk to create opportunities for the rest of us to build things, right? Yeah. And so I will say, if there's any of you in the room, the first thing I do is I tell the kids, I said, there's hundreds of different jobs within the insurance industry. The two best are actuaries. So if any of you have kids that are good at math, they should absolutely take up actuarial science. The second is reinsurance brokers, because all they do is travel and have nice dinners. And no, but it is a super important aspect of the industry. And these kids are excited about it and really are sponges trying to take it up. So all we have to do as an industry is spend time educating them and getting involved.
And Rick, I'll say, in the other aspect that we've seen is people that are doing second careers. So at Corebridge, the business that I run is retirement services, which is defined contribution. And so a big segment that is important for us and that we serve is the K through 12 market. And so teachers that have been a teacher for 20 years want to stop teaching and start a second career. And teachers make great financial advisors. And so we found that we're picking up actually people that have been clients of ours that want to join our industry as a financial advisor. Yeah,
I've also seen that with social workers and entertainers as well, because they want that access to something that's meaningful. So they still want to connect, and they're already great at building empathy and building relationships and connecting with people. So this is a great career transition for them. So I completely agree with that. So let's switch gears and talk about upscaling for the future and what that looks like. And I know that we all have probably taken an insurance continuing education course or a pre-licensing course that was all text that we had to read on the screen. And we were all really, really going through this dreadful process, but we really wanted to learn about insurance, and practically it was pretty much the only way that you could actually learn about it in order to be able to take your exams. So, Will, I want to start with you on that. I know that right now learners want zero fluff when it comes to how that insurance education is delivered, and they want that real-time impact. So what formats and content styles are today's learners demanding, and what should we be doing in the industry when it comes to education? What should we actually stop doing in the industry when it comes to education?
I think in the past, there's been one predominant learning format, right? It was classroom, it was lecture, and that has totally changed now. Nobody wants that, to my knowledge, anymore. They may get it in like a podcast form, but it's really now, it's all based upon the individual. What is that individual learner? How do they learn? Which makes it harder for, obviously, organizations like us, but even harder for every organization to meet their employees or their team where they're really at, one in their learning journey, and also with the format that they want that information. I would say by and large what we're seeing is people want obviously digital learning, but they want the learning experience, right? They want to interact with the learning, they want scenarios, they want to engage with the curriculum, if you will, with the knowledge where they're actually making decisions, getting real-time feedback, and being able to use that then on the next day of their job or within the next time. So I think that's the biggest thing, is really looking at the competencies now, really understanding the job role. Where do you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years? What skills, what knowledge, what competencies do you need? Mapping that out, and then providing multiple formats, probably multiple providers, to get you that knowledge and get to the spot where you ultimately need to be successful in that next role or the next opportunity, or where you want to go in this industry.
Absolutely. I know from the off-course learning perspective, we've been hearing like very unique ways that they are wanting this education to be delivered. We even had one client tell us that they wanted insurance training in the meta world.
Absolutely.
So you really have to be able to think outside of the box when you're developing any type of insurance education now, because the needs have changed.
Nobody wants to wear the goggles, but they want the experience, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
They want half of the experience. So, Terri, how do you demonstrate ROI from your learning initiatives, and how are you measuring that with your leaders from a business impact?
Yeah, so the growth of our people, our talent is of utmost importance to us, and so we focus on the outcomes really as we think about measuring the skills of the team and fill in the gaps. Is that what are the outcomes that we're getting from the training that we're doing? Because we have an early careers program where someone can come in. And it's a 2-year rotational program, so they're exposed to all aspects of our business, so they can understand a little bit better what is the right fit for them and what do they enjoy most, and so it's are we getting the results from that program that we, for the investment that we're making in that. And then we've embedded personal development into our performance management process. So what is the one thing that you want to focus on to develop yourself further? And then that becomes one of your goals in the overall performance process. So we look at it a couple different ways.
Love that. I know it's really important that as a company that you get the ROI that you're looking for when it comes to insurance education. So Rick, let's kind of shift gears and talk about what everyone has been talking about all week at Insurtech Insights. Let's talk about AI. So how do you envision AI co-pilots, underwriting tools, maybe positioning that into like onboarding and training?
Yeah, I'm going to take a half a step back, if I can,
Okay.
because I think it's really important. So, first of all, I think all of us have to embrace the concept of lifelong learning. So I've been in this space for a long time. I'm both a CPCU and a CIC. CIC requires me to do an annual update course, 3 days of my life every year, to learn about what's changing in the industry.
You get to do that, by the way.
That's right, correct. Truth be told, Will has to call me and remind me that, Rick, you're behind on your updates and you can't be on our board if you're behind on the update. But in all truth, the industry is changing so quickly that you have to be aware of what's going on. If you heard my panel earlier today, you don't know what the next 2 or 3 or 4 years are going to bring, so you've got to be aware of it. I have a lot of people say, Rick, going back to the AI question, what do you think about AI? Is that going to displace me in my career? And my response is, well, if you don't learn things, yes, it's going to displace you in your career. AI is a great tool to accelerate the educational process and to support humans on their everyday lives. One of the things that the Risk and Insurance Education Alliance focus a lot on is the producers of insurance, the agents that are talking to consumers all the time. And it is so critical to utilize AI tools to help empower the agent to be a better consultant to the particular companies. For any of you that work in the independent agent world, how many carriers does your agency have? How many different product lines do you do? How can you keep track of all of these? And heaven forbid you actually write business in multiple states. You got to know what the variations are on these. AI is a tool in order to educate people so they can take care of their customers better.
And I'll expand on that too in terms of, to the point you made in terms of making it better customer experience, is that one of the things that we're looking at in piloting at Corebridge is that for plan sponsors that we serve is when they call into a call center or a plan participant is if I have a question on can I take a distribution from my account, then the AI tool will pull up the answers that correspond to that plan document. And so now the call center person does not have to make the client wait for several minutes, read through all the documents, and they're going to provide a more accurate answer at a faster pace.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, I think it's really important that the customer experience is always a great one. Anytime we're implementing AI, I think it's going to help us and not actually hurt us if we're implementing it in the right areas, you know, where there's a true need. Mm-hmm. So let's shift a little bit and talk about changing their perception of insurance careers. I know something that I decided to do, and I took it upon myself, and now it's my new life's mission, is to really try to attract people who had never actually even considered a career in insurance to actually come and leverage their talents here. I think it was like LeBron James where he said he was going to take his talents elsewhere. We want you to bring your talents to the insurance industry. So I actually created a course, my husband and I, at UConn. That was our first course that we created called Emerging Technologies in Insurance. And it wasn't actually geared towards insurance students. It was geared towards the tech and the business students, because we wanted them to learn about the opportunities that existed in every area of the insurance industry. So I think when we're taking these unique approaches, that's definitely going to be helpful to change that perception. And now we're turning into a whole new degree program at other universities where they don't even have a risk management and insurance program. So I think it's taking that very unique approach. So Will, specifically with you, what misconceptions do students or even early career professionals actually still hold about insurance careers, and how do we actually fix that?
Yeah, I think we've touched on it. You know, not everyone wants to just sell insurance, right? And they're bombarded with commercials, ads, all about selling insurance, all over any product set. But what we've really seen is everyone in this audience honestly has an impact. When you tell somebody insurance isn't sexy, like that's a negative connotation, right? Like, I got news I know we're in a mixed audience, but coding is not that sexy either. Fragmenting files, unit testing, that's not sexy either. So, but no one goes around and says, yeah, I do coding and it's not that sexy. So I would encourage everyone in this room to say what you get to do. And I mean, I hope some of you have really experienced the fact that you actually help a human being on the absolute worst day of their life come back from that loss, or have some security, probably mostly financial security, from a loved one dying or being disabled or your home burning down or getting in the worst accident you've ever been in, and you actually got to help somebody. I hope everyone in this room gets the joy of that, and lead with that. Lead with your story of why this is exciting. We always talk about we need to write more business. What you're really doing is protecting more people. And I think that needs to get back more into the nomenclature of what we're doing, and being excited about that, and express to early career people, I get to do this job because of X, Y, Z, or I experienced one of the most joyful professional moments and lead with that. Don't lead with the negative, or I just fell into this, or I worked here and then, I was handcuffed and I could never leave. Like, that's not that great. So everyone in this room can change the nomenclature, can change the brand, can change everything. It's all one story at a time and being a positive force in that, in my opinion.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I think if everybody really shows the reason why they continue to choose this career over and over again and stick around, then people will get more excited about being in this industry. So Rick, how has Hippo actually positioned itself as a destination for talent who traditionally wouldn't be looking at insurance?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I as owners of businesses or senior managers of businesses within the insurance space, I think it's incumbent upon you to actually put you and your company out there to participate. There are great organizations like Will's organizations that are taking grants to help educate people, doing different things to get people involved. So at Hippo, we always try to sort of put our money where our mouth is, so to speak. And I've told Will, every local graduate that graduates from their high school program in insurance and risk management, I will hire at Hippo, every one of them.
I love that.
And it's important because now people, and because not everybody, and we're seeing more and more of this, not everybody's going to college anymore. Not everybody should go to college anymore. By the way, I will do the same thing for college graduates. But there's a lot of people that really want to get into the workforce, have a trade, learn a skill set. And if they're willing to do this and recognize this in high school, I will hire them. And so I think maybe your company doesn't have the ability to hire dozens or hundreds of people, but you do have the ability to help somebody get earn a scholarship for insurance education that they can take to use somewhere else. So we're doing all of these different aspects at Hippo just to support companies like Will's that are really like living this every single day.
I love that. And I think it's important to kind of where we're going next is allowing them to be able to see themselves in the industry and have that immersive experience. Because like even when, for every student that takes our course, they get a guaranteed paid internship to go and work for an insurance company. Yep. And they also get to come to conferences like this so that they can interact and really envision themselves in an industry that they originally didn't think of coming into. So I love what you guys are doing at Hippo. And Terri, I know that you're doing some pretty cool things when it comes to immersive learning experiences at Corebridge. So let's talk about how you guys are doing that at Corebridge, allowing these students and people to actually be able to see themselves in an insurance career specifically. Yeah,
and I think we talked a little bit about this, but it starts with really tying in the purpose. And in its purest form, insurance, it provides peace of mind and protection, and it allows people to take those risks that they wouldn't be able to take. So, and really having that vision and having the leaders in the organization ensure that we communicate that vision and our purpose. And I always tell my team is that we are so fortunate. We are in a great business because we have a naturally built-in purpose into what we do, and we know that. People, and it's more important today to feel connected to the purpose of an organization. So I think it starts there. There's some other things that we do at Corebridge is that we're very big on our employee resource groups. Yes. And so I was a founder of our Women in Distribution. We don't call that one an ERG because that was a grassroots effort. And we brought in fabulous speakers that have come in, and a lot of this, if y'all know Carla Harris, who's at Morgan Stanley, we've had Melody Hobson, we've had Jenny Johnson from Franklin Templeton, we've had wonderful women that come in and they'll do a virtual presentation, and it's not just for the women, it's for everyone within Corebridge, and they share their leadership journey, which inspires so many people. We get wonderful feedback from that. And I was just invited recently to become the executive sponsor for an ERG that we have called Thrive, and it's focusing on your wellness, and so your own personal wellness, so you can bring your best self, if you will, to work every day. And so there's lots of those kind of programs, but I think it really starts with what both Will and Rick have said, is just getting people excited, and that starts with the leadership.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as we begin to wrap up, I have this question for each of you. And Rick, we'll start with you. What should the industry start doing, stop doing, and continue doing when it comes to insurance education and also talent, whether it's current talent or future talent?
Yeah, I love the start, stop, and continue. We need to start embracing the idea that if we're all competing for the same talent pool, all we're going to do is get retreads in our organization and have to pay those retreads more money.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I hate to be as blunt as that, but that's what's happening now, as opposed to say, let's plant seeds, train those seeds, help nourish, flourish, and grow them so we develop our own talent. And I think that's going to be critical, especially for those of us that are in newer or smaller organizations. It's hard to do that. It's a lot easier to go poach somebody from another organization. But yes, they come with experience, but they also come with preconceived notions of how they think that the industry and the business should work. So we should stop, and I'm going to steal Will's word, we should stop saying insurance isn't sexy. It is absolutely sexy. I mean, look at all of us.
And look at this man, right?
Yes, exactly. So, but from a continued perspective, I also think we have to continue to be open-minded in how we actually support people in their personal desires. So, you know, when I started, it was you come in the office at 8, you leave at 5, it's 5 days a week, you actually had a 45-minute scheduled lunch break, you had 2 15-minute breaks. All of that has changed.
Yes.
One of the things that I loved what Terri was talking about is military spouses. Like, a lot of us have work that is licensed work, and you can't offshore licensed work. You can't get an insurance license if you're not onshore, right? But you can find great talent pools onshore of people that maybe don't want to work 40 hours a week, but they're going to be great 20 hours a week, or job share, or other types of things. Be creative in the way that we think about work.
Absolutely. Will?
I think we need to start really looking at education as an actual value add and measure the return on that. Like, you guys are spending time and money on education and training now. Are you getting a return? Are people actually learning something? Is there behavior change? And because of those two things, are you actually getting a financial impact? And I think companies really need to look at that because they are spending the resources. I would stop doing education as a compliance checkbox. It's just so limiting. I know we all do it. We hear it from all of our clients. Everyone says, yeah, we use XYZ provider for compliance training, but when we really want them to learn something, we never go to the same XYZ provider. So let's stop doing CE for CE's sake, and let's really invest in our people and really look at where do you need to grow. And then the continuing is, let's continue to praise and get out there and celebrate stories of diverse success within our industry, and tell that story to as many people and as loud as you can shout it with your own circle of influence.
Terri?
Yeah, so a little bit similar is start thinking about the hiring outside of the usual places that we go to find people, because we have to expand the pool. And that's why we're looking at some of the programs that we do, is that we got to expand the pool of where we go. It's not just the traditional universities where you get people, et cetera. And then stop thinking about skills training in a vacuum. And then continue to tie what we do to our purpose and what we call at Corbridge the ways of working. And I think it was Walt Disney that said, if your values are clear, decisions are easy. And I think if we know what our values are, and so I think if we're clear about that, we'll continue to attract great talent.
Absolutely. Listen, this has been a phenomenal session, and we've come to the end. So sad, but it has been absolutely amazing. I'm so happy that a topic like this finally made it to the main stage, because this is a conversation that we need to continue having. We have to make sure that we treat this like an opportunity to attract people who traditionally haven't been interested in a career in insurance. And you can do that by continuing to be innovative, sharing about your passion and why you stayed in the industry as long as you've been here, and just continue to encourage people to join this great industry. Again, thank you so much for your time. Please give our panelists a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thank
Thank you.
so
Thank you,
much,
Alexis.
guys.
Awesome job.
Thank you.